Bringing unity to the community. 89.9 KMOJ, the People's Station.
89.9 KMOJ. Today's R&B and throwbacks. I'm Glam Life Kim, and right now it is time for Minneapolis 360. And Anthony Taylor, how are you doing today, brother?
Feel good. I feel a lot of different ways, to be honest. Since the last time we talked, obviously there's been a lot of things that's been happening in our city and our country, especially around vaccines and vaccinations and stuff like that. So I'm trying to gather my thoughts and feelings as far as that goes. But what's going on in your world, Kim? Tell me some good news today.
You know what? It's beautiful outside. Isn't that good news enough? And the sun is shining. And, you know, when there's gray skies, I don't know, seasonal depression is real. So, so I'm happy anytime I see the sun shining.
It's definitely a nice winter day. I like it just like this. Lord knows it's not going to stay that way, but got to figure out a plan to beat the winter time. So
right.
I am glad to be with you, Minneapolis. My name is Anthony Taylor. I am the African-American Community Specialist for the city of Minneapolis. We are back today again to talk about some important things that's happening in our community. And the topic for today, Minneapolis, will be the Upper Harbor Terminal update, right? We have talked with folks from the Upper Harbor Terminal and provided us some information maybe about a year ago on what's happening. Really big project in the north side of Minneapolis, and I've got a couple of people on to talk about it. Markella Smith, DeVon, Nolen, who's been on before, and Brandon, I think is Champeau, and I'm sorry if I'm chopping up his name, but he will be on later too to talk about some updates with Upper Harbor. But I want to just kind of go over some things real quick, Minneapolis, before we get started. I think those of you who are listening were listening to Governor Walz and kind of some of the updates regarding the dial-back plan that happened. Remember, this was a 4-week pause that put a pause and the brakes on a lot of different things as we opened. Governor Walz updated us, was in the process of updating us about some of those things that are happening now. As far as loosening some of those restrictions. So I'll go over it briefly. And again, things may change. So I also want to encourage you to make sure that you go to your places of news to get the updated information. But what we have had so far is the fact is that bars and restaurants can dial back what have outdoor seating, but limited to 50% capacity, 100 customers at a time. Gyms and fitness studios can open up at a quarter capacity, which is 100 customers or a limit. In those workout facilities and gyms, you have to keep a 12-foot social distancing in those capacities, as well as outdoor entertainment venues can open up at 25% capacity with a 100 customer limit. And youth sports can practice again on January 4th. Which I think is important for those young people who are had to cut their season short and do a lot of their practices online, virtually. In-person gatherings can be adjusted so families can be involved with another family who live in their household. So this is not, when we say with the gatherings, there's a bunch of families. You have to be smart about it, Minneapolis, and who you gather with anyway. But the idea around this is that one family in each household can be able to gather. And then a lot of the things are in place that still are open to the public as far as retail stores, salons, places of worship, and child care centers. So make sure that you get your news, and also what elementary school opening looks like as well. Now, the governor didn't get a chance to really get into it before I went on air, but I want to make sure that you get your information correctly about what it means for your babies to be able to get back to school. So this is an important development, Minneapolis, as far as where we go from here, with the governor talking about this dark winter and some of the restrictions that are loosened up. You really want to make sure you're informed on what it is that you can still do and what you can't do. So we had last week, we talked about, or a couple weeks ago, we talked about vaccines and what that looks like. We'll have another program in January to talk about vaccinations as well. But until then, please make sure that we're continuing to do the things that keep us and our families safe. One quick thing here before we get into the Upper Harbor Terminal is that the peacetime emergency is still extended through January 13th, and this includes evictions and those things like that. But please, Minnesota, if you're able to pay your rent, please do so. Again, this provides you protections around eviction. So I just want to make sure that we understand that, and that is still extended through January 13th. We have a lot of information in Minneapolis about testing sites that you can go and get free testing done. And there's so many, and we've been able to provide lots of different information on the testing sites. What I want you to do, Minneapolis, is go to minneapolis.gov/coronavirus to find out where you can get free COVID-19 testing in your areas. A lot of these places are spread out around our city in different cultural communities. So there's opportunities for you to go into places where you feel comfortable to get tested. We've talked about COVID for, it seems like almost a year. I think these sources of information is helpful. So please make sure you go to minneapolis.gov/coronavirus to make sure that you find out your testing sites where you can get free COVID testing. That's a lot of information quickly, Minneapolis. So I want to make sure that you go to either KMOJ's site or go to the city site to be able to get that information. And one of the things that we've always talked about, Minneapolis, is if you don't know, call 311. So I want to make sure that folks are able to access that information. So that's a lot, Kim.
Right? It is
in a short
lot.
Amount of time.
It is, but you knocked it out. Great job.
So what I think is important, too, is that we still focus on our future. So what I want to do is shift gears and talk to some folks who've been working on the Upper Harbor Terminal for a long time. And I want to invite Markella Smith, is the co-chair and executive director for the McKinley community. Also, DeVon Nolen, Learning Tables community engagement lead, who's been on our show before. Welcome back to you, DeVon and Markella, and welcome to Minneapolis 360.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
I want to just begin with telling us about the project, right? So this has been going on for a while. Markella, what's the status of the Upper Harbor Terminal project?
So right now, where we are in this project is we're in the public comment period. So the draft coordinated plan has been released, and the city is asking for the public, so our Northsiders, our people need to read this plan and go over it and make their comments on it. And you can comment on the draft coordinated plan through January 15th. And literally, it's an online survey. If you Google Upper Harbor Terminal survey, you'll find it very easily. You can also go on the website. It's upperharbormpls.com. And you can find the survey there as well. But what we really need is for the public to make their comments. We've worked really, really hard to make sure that this plan, I say we, when I say we, I mean the CPC committee. We've worked really hard to make sure that this plan benefits Northsiders and that it's going to bring some opportunity that maybe hasn't been here for years to the Northside. So we're working hard on that, and I believe that this plan reflects that. So,
and DeVon, you've been working on this project. I know you're doing a lot of learning tables and community engagement efforts throughout this project. And this project is huge, and it's taken years to be able to get to where we're at, or you guys are at this point. Tell us a little bit about this project for those who really don't understand or maybe aren't as informed as the Upper Harbor Terminal. Tell us exactly the scope and what is this all about for North Minneapolis? Do we still have DeVon on the phone?
It appears he's still there. Maybe he's on mute.
And it's a she. So
oh, I'm sorry, DeVon.
That's okay. DeVon, are you there?
Okay, sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay.
Good afternoon, Minneapolis.
Hey,
North
DeVon.
Side.
North Side.
North Side, baby. So I'm so excited to be on your show again, Anthony. Thanks so much for having us, and thanks to Markella and all the CPC members for all their hard work to make sure that this is a people-centered project. And so real short intro. It's 48.8 acres right off of Dowling in Washington. And so those of us who are native Northsiders will recognize it by the big domes that have been there for quite a long time. And so it's that's what's being proposed. It's a large development. And like Markella said, we're open to the public comment period right now. What the project includes is really about connecting North Minneapolis to the Mississippi River. The idea of retaining public ownership of the land, providing a sustainable revenue stream to invest back into North Minneapolis. And so these are things that are built into the project. It also will create a 19-acre Northside riverfront park and trails. It will provide rental and ownership housing affordable opportunities for North Minneapolis residents. It proposes to build a community performing arts center, formerly known as the music venue. It is really, again, being community and people-centered, and a community health and wellness hub, as well as providing opportunities for community ownership and bringing 300-plus livable wage jobs to the North Side. And we have been really adamant about the way Sister Markella refers to it, is we don't want to just be the help, right? We want to make sure that the economic impacts of this development are that current Northsiders are the direct financial benefactor of that. And so when we talk about livable wage jobs, we mean career pathways, right? So that we have ways to build generational wealth.
And I'm glad you talked about that too, sis. And I'm glad that you're back as well, because the way you talk about this project is so informational. And one of the things that I've been learning about the work that you've done, and also the committee, is the learning tables, right? And you'll get a chance, and Markella as well later, to kind of briefly tell folks how they can get involved. But since the process that you, both of you, have started with the learning tables, what are some of the key takeaways that folks in the community gave you about this project? Like, what are the sense that they feel? Is it anything that you could share to folks that really, caught your attention about what folks were saying with these engagement learning tables?
Right. So we actually have a learning table tonight at 4:30. This will be our 10th or 11th. I stopped counting, y'all. We just keep showing up. But what the learning table process is really about creating a space where we can develop what we call the learning glue, because we know that the average community member here in North Minneapolis is not a developer. I became a developer so that I could understand how development works, but oftentimes the project is happening to us and does not include us. And so this has been a people-centered project. I just want to echo that. And it's being driven by Northsiders. Like, if you go on the website, you'll see who's been involved in shaping this project. And so we need to be intentional about challenging that narrative about who will be the benefactor of what is built. What we've heard, Anthony, is everything, right? So the whole spectrum of folks who absolutely think this is the wrong thing to do and we should not be developing the river, all the way to the other end of the spectrum of folks who are ready to start laying bricks and signing leases. And so our challenge has been, how do we reconcile that? How do we find a middle ground? Because at the juncture that the development is at now, it's likely going to happen, right? There are still people who want it to not happen, and it's okay. We get to resist in whatever way works for us. I'm all about resisting. This just happens to be how I resist. And so we have heard the deep and valid mistrust of government, mistrust of processes, because there's a long history of divestment and disinvestment. So we understand that. I'm usually the one flipping over tables in these meetings, right? But when I show up to the meeting and I see my neighbors and I see folks who I know are vested in this community, who are putting their blood, sweat, and tears into shaping it and making sure that there isn't just these kind of highfalutin ideas about what community benefits are, but really making them concrete. And I know it's a lot. I know the draft coordinated plan is 92 pages. I know the average community member is not going to read all 92 pages, but if you start with page 7 through 14, a lot of what I've been hearing over the last year and a half, the questions that have surfaced about what does this project really mean, are captured in that page 7 through 14.
And that's beautiful, and I'm glad you even made that specific to people, because you're right, 92 pages is a lot, but if you direct them folks to the meat of what you said, I think that's vitally important. And I want to bring you back in Markella, and just kind of add to the question, like, what are some of your thoughts and feelings about the things that you've heard during this engagement process that you'd like to add to?
Right. I mean, I pretty much echo what DeVon says. Like, we've heard the whole spectrum of this shouldn't be happening to we don't trust the city, we don't trust, and I'll be very real, we don't trust these white folks coming into the city, developing in our neighborhoods. Like, we've heard it all. But I've also heard that people are ready for a change. People are ready for opportunity. They're ready for the financial and economic growth that could happen. We, as a community, are worried about displacement, gentrification, which are very valid concerns. But I believe that this plan addresses that and addresses it in a way that it's going to benefit Northside instead of taking away from it. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad DeVon mentioned that it's Northsiders at the table. I've also heard that we at the table don't truly represent Northside. I've been Northside my whole life. My family is here. I grew up here. Like, my kids are here. So when we come to the table and we talk about this plan, we talk about it from a deeply invested and deeply embedded Northside, right? So what we're bringing to the table is what we believe is for the best interest of the Northside, and that we are listening to our community members and we hear them and we're letting their voices be heard through us. So.
And I appreciate you being candid, because really, to be honest, that's what this show is about, and that's what really folks want to hear. So I appreciate both of you guys is just keeping it way
100,
way 100. Absolutely,
no sugarcoating.
Is Brandon? Can we get Brandon? Kim, is Brandon able to get tapped in from United Properties?
Well, you know what? I can't tell if he's called yet because I have two callers on the line, so I'll have to let at least one of you guys go.
well, this is what we'll do.
Okay.
So we'll have to bring Brandon back, right? So we're up against the clock in about 10 minutes, and these two women can speak to a lot of these things that Brandon can talk to about as well too. But what I want to focus on, and you brought it up, DeVon, is next steps, right? And how residents can stay involved. And you talk about a meeting tonight, but tell folks how they can be involved. And then also, too, a question for both of you is, we know that the city and a lot of different entities are always extracting personal capital, right, with information and being asked to brought to the table and those things like that. And Markella, you talked about it. You're a Northsider, so you bring your Northside all up in all of these spaces, right? So for one, the two-part question is, how can folks get involved, and how can folks be guaranteed that their voices are heard and are acted upon as well? So DeVon, I'm going to start with you.
Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate the question, and I'm going to be candid because, that's what we do on this show. We have got to pay attention, and we have got to take onus for ourselves, right? So the information is there, but it's beyond just the information. It's about understanding what's being presented to you, and so we've worked really hard to try to digest years and years worth of work and put it in a package that can be presented and digestible in community. That is no small feat, because again, if you're not a developer, you don't understand what goes into a pro forma and how leases are developed and all these things that through the Collaborative Planning Committee, we have literally built capacity in community to better understand these things. Markella talks a lot about not, this being new and kind of coming into organizing activism work, and this is a big opportunity. And so the opportunity still exists because, as they mentioned earlier, that the draft is out for public comment. Really, really wanting to focus on residents of North and Northeast Minneapolis. And it's important that people get involved. It's not finalized, right? There's still opportunities to help shape the plan. And so if you go to upperharbormpls.com, the comment period is open until, I believe, January 13th. There's also online cities hosting online meetings. The remaining meetings are January 5th, December 20th, January 10th. So there's a whole host of ways to still get involved. And, I would say if you do a quick Google search for Upper Harbor Terminal, or if you go to Eventbrite, you'll find our events. But get involved. And if you don't know how to get involved, these committee members, their names are listed on the beginning pages of the coordinated plan. We are your ambassadors for this project. I know that I watch them reckon with how do we reconcile all these different voices. It's no different than being an elected official where your constituents all have different opinions about what you should or should not be doing. But we are at the table, and we're being heard. It's not that our voice is just being extracted and whatever gets built gets built. We're making sure that there are systems of accountability built in, and we're going to be there for the long haul, making sure that this is for the North Side.
Wonderful.
And Markella, add to that too, and tell us some of the things that the McKinley community is doing as well for Upper Harbor.
Right. I also just want you to know, Brandon's trying to call in. It's busy. We just got an email from him, just so that you guys are aware. But yeah, so McKinley community, we're here. We're involved. We're doing a online Zoom call on Sunday from 12 to 1 to talk about the Upper Harbor Terminal, and then we'll have another one on January 10th. And it'll be the same thing. Like, what questions do you guys have for the developers, for the city, for McKinley, for CPC members? What things do you want us to know? And then also feel free to reach out to me or McKinley community directly, because we can't advocate what we don't know, right? So if you guys don't express, if community doesn't express what it is that they want or what it is that they have a problem with, we can't then advocate for it because we don't know. So it's very, very important. When DeVon says get involved, it's important to get involved. And not even at the level that we're at, because we understand that not everybody can do that and not everybody has the time and capacity, but send us an email. My email at work is mckinleycommunitympls@gmail.com. You can always send me an email. We can set up a time to talk. If that's easier than coming to meetings and being on Zoom calls and all of that, we get it. But you have to let us know. You have to let your voice be heard. And there's multiple ways to do that. So be involved, follow McKinley community, because we'll continue to have these conversations and we'll continue to be out in the community, trying to make sure that this development is north. Yep, exactly.
Right, absolutely.
Sorry, that was long-winded.
That's okay. The thing, I want to appreciate you two women for coming on this show today. And DeVon, I'm a fan of your work around all of this that you've been doing with community engagement. Markella, I'm a fan of yours on your work from the Green Zone, Northside Green Zone Task Force. So I want to thank you two ladies for coming. And please feel free to come back and discuss more as we go forward with this project. But good luck and God bless to you both.
Yes, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Anthony and Kim.
You're welcome.
That was Markella Smith and DeVon Nolen talking about Upper Harbor. I don't know if Brandon is still on. Is there anything that indicates that, Kim?
You know what? If he can call in right now, we can probably get him on in the next couple of minutes.
Okay.
Hopefully he hears us talking.
Yeah, and I'm getting
call in, Brandon. Call in.
I'm getting some communication that he tried, and I'll have to bring him back.
Oh, this may be him now.
Okay,
let's see. 89.9 KMOJ.
Hey, this is Brandon Champeau with United Properties.
Oh, look at that. Brandon heard us.
Brandon,
I was listening. I was trying to call in and kept telling me I was busy. So
yeah, we working remotely is different instead of the studio. So there's not too many phone lines. We're talking about 3 people on the line. So I'm certainly glad that you came back. What I didn't want to do is get Markella and DeVon off while they were talking. But real quickly, Brandon, what is being done to make sure that this development meets the needs of the North Side? Markella and DeVon broke it down beautifully, but ensure people on this is going to make sure that folks over north this is going to be for them.
Yeah, it's a great question, and from our perspective at United Properties, I mean it's started with a lot of listening. And, I've been on this project since we were selected as the lead developer in late 2016. I've been on it from day one, and have attended well over 100 community meetings now. I think we're up into the 130s. Most of those physically, but a lot virtually here the last few months. And really just for us, it's been sitting down and listening to community and trying to understand what are the optimal outcomes that this project can deliver. And, I'll fully admit when I got involved early on, a lot of the things that we're talking about right now weren't even on my mind. And, in hindsight, certainly have learned a ton of lessons through the process, but through this process and especially these last couple of years, working closely with the CPC and the learning table at these learning table events in the city, it's been just an incredible process to be a part of, and I've learned a lot, just personally going through this. But I think to kind of sum up, I mean, we need to do what we've had to rethink everything here. I mean, this isn't just about delivering a couple of real estate projects and then moving on. It's about thinking about every single part of the project, from how the projects are getting designed, how they're getting developed and built, which businesses are occupying these spaces, who's directly benefiting from the actual development, and really, I mean, just having to stop every single time and make sure we're checking ourselves on that, because a lot of times the way the development gets done is much more linear, and we're going to build a building, we're going to fill it up, and we're going to move on. And in this case, that's not acceptable, and we've got to do a better job than that.
And I want to thank you, because that's a great way to close out this show. What you come across it is really making sure that you guys have been intentional about the North Side residents, and I appreciate your work around this as well. Can we get a promise from you to be able to come back and talk more about Upper Harbor too when the time comes?
Absolutely, yeah.
And I promise I'll get you on first too, right? So.
Markella and DeVon deserve to be first. That's for sure.
Oh, so sweet.
And again, yep, I appreciate you, sir, and thanks for coming on real quickly and letting us know more information, Brandon. So thank you.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
The show flew by. We have to definitely have them back on, Kim.
Absolutely. It went super fast today.
And this project is huge, and the work that everybody's been doing around that, I mean, this is really vital, right? And when I first started to work for the city, just hearing about this has made me really excited about the potential. And I feel always when I hear DeVon and Markella talking about that this is going to have Black folks' voices centered, and folks are at the table making this plan, and they're not extracting information. So
right.
Really enjoyed hearing that today. So we are out of time, Minneapolis. I hope you got some good information. Please make sure you contact Minneapolis/coronavirus for those free testing sites.
Mm-hmm.
And Kim, take us out with some last words. So give us something for the people.
You know what? I just want to actually, we spoke about something for the people. And remember, I was telling you about this, Anthony, but
Yep.
we are doing a glam Christmas. So Glam Life Kim and 89.9 KMOJ and friends, including Anthony Taylor, we would like for you guys to nominate a family, and you can do that by sending an email to glamlifekim@kmojfm.com with their circumstances and why they deserve a glam Christmas. You know, this has been a challenging year, right, bro?
It is.
And some people just need a little cheering, and some people could really use some help. So if you know a family that's deserving, that, you know, could really use the help this holiday season, or, you know, whatever we can do to help bring some cheer into their life, Don't forget that email is glamlifekim@kmojfm.com. It's all over our social media pages. If you would like to donate, feel free to send me an email or contact me on social media as well, Glam Life Kim or Kimberly Holyfield. And let's help. I mean, Minnesota, we're all in this together.
That's right. That's right. Please do what you can. And the beauty of the holiday season is giving, not getting.
Right.
So that's the beautiful thing about it. So
It is.
I appreciate you letting us folks know, Kim.
Thank you so much.
All right.
All right. Well, next week we're back on.
Yeah, we back on. We got an end of the year special.
Okay.
So
this is our last one for the year, huh?
This is the last one for the year, and just a tease, Minneapolis. We've got an end of the year special, and the guests are going to be Glam Life Kim and Anthony Taylor next week for the entire show.
It is.
I'm serious.
Okay, good.
All right.
All right, Twin Cities. We appreciate you. We love you. One love. Up next is Zany K. What you gonna say? What station? Come on, Anthony Taylor. What station we on?
Man, we on KMOJ, the People Station.